funny.
But it's live or it's going to be live when you post it?
Oh, no, it's live like
Oh.
right now at
Oh,
11:11 Mountain Standard Time, and it's 1:11 Eastern. Aloha, Dream Jockeys. It's DJ Val and Nerissa Balland at the Big Dream School, and we are rocking the new episode this week. Here's Nerissa. Woohoo, badass artist. Hi, Nerissa.
Hi.
Are you Miami or Miami Beach?
Miami. I used to be in Miami Beach, technically. I mean, the beach isn't far from me, but no, now my zip code and everything is Miami.
And what's the difference? Is it just ocean versus not on the ocean part, or how does it go there?
Well, I'm pretty close to the water. Like, it's literally 20 feet from me, but it's not the beach. It's the intercoastal.
Oh,
it's right outside my window. But no, it's just different parts of town. Miami Beach and South Beach and all that is more south. I'm more north now. I mean, I'm not very far north. I'm like 15 minutes, but yeah.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. So so Nerissa was on this week's Big Dream School podcast, and we talked about all sorts of stuff. But the experiment of the week that we came up with was a planned discomfort, like, leaning into your discomfort. So Nerissa, let's hear about you. Let's let everybody know like who you are, what you do, what's your big dream, what are you working on now, what's hot for you, sissa?
Oh my God, that's a lot in one. Ooh, where do I break it down? Well, I am a resident artist at USpace here in Miami. And primarily I work in contemporary art, mixed media, abstract art. I have two different lines of work that I'm working in now. One's more like a passion project. And it kind of dives into, your soul and spirituality and kind of visualizing that through some funky, more urban, illustrative portraits and hamsas. And then the second line is really more working in abstracts, primarily that deal more with love. So there's some works that I'm doing that are more universally accepted, that hopefully more in home decor and home decorators and stuff, that seems to sell more in terms of what the content of it is. So two different lines of stuff I'm working on.
And so have you always been a full-time artist?
No, I have not. I am not even a year old yet.
Happy.
This amazing skin. Yeah, I'm, how old am I? I'm like 8 months. No, I started going full-time last June. And before that, I spent the last 18, 19 years doing marketing, branding, advertising. I had my own company for a while within events, doing event planning and design, primarily for weddings. And now I'm going full-time with art. And my background in education is in the arts. So I studied at Pratt for my MFA a really long time ago. And I also studied at the Denmark Design School in Copenhagen through Pratt, really long time ago. So I'm just kind of coming full circle with that now. But I dropped that for a while, kept it more as a hobby, and now I'm pursuing it as my dream.
And what shifted for you in life where you were like, okay, I got to get back on track with my big dream of being an artist and bringing your art forward in this world?
What shifted for me was my cancer diagnosis and the idea that time is precious and limited, and reconnecting with things I was grateful for and being less fearful of being able to do things that I wanted to do. So I always loved art, which is why I was educated and went for a master's and have years of payments for something that didn't financially pay me back.
Yeah.
I always loved it. But I was always afraid to do it at any kind of level that was professional or sought out more critique and criticism and rejection, because there's a lot of that, just like in the field of acting. Artists are often rejected all the time. And open to critique. And I really was very fearful of that, and I more liked to produce art but not share it. And then even to the point that I didn't want to produce it because I was always more fearful of my own personal critiques of it. So I stepped away for a while and just focused on my career and other things in life. And it came to a point for me, art is very healing. And it was an area for me that helped me through cancer diagnosis and treatment. And it still helps me to this day on a lot of other levels, not just around cancer, but it helps me to get more in touch with me and who I am, so I can be a better wife, a better mom, better friend, and just actually more kinder to myself.
Yeah. And how did you, I mean, I totally hear you when you say about the critique part and not wanting to, put yourself out there. And I feel like as an artist, we all go through that. And how did you obviously had a big life-changing experience. You still could have chosen to be like, I'm not putting my art out there. Screw that. I'm not, but you obviously are choosing to go big or go home. You're putting it out there. Like, how do you get over that feeling of the discomfort around, putting it out there? Like, and not do you worry about what people think still, like the critiques?
I think there's always so it's funny. I think for me, the biggest part is I am now more comfortable being uncomfortable and almost like taking it on like head on as a challenge. Anytime I don't really like to do something, like hence this Facebook Live, I'm not really into Facebook Live because I can't edit and I can't filter and I can't make everything like super beautiful in the moment. And so there's a part of me that like wants to control that. So I don't like to do usually like live stuff like this.
Thank you.
But I do recognize that being comfortable, being uncomfortable, is really important. It's the way that you see growth. And so I think that will help me personally and professionally. And so I work really hard. It's so funny. So recently I've had a number of people comment who know my story or what have you, have commented. And it's very beautiful compliments when people say, oh, I'm inspired by your story or you've done something. And part of me feels when I hear it, I'm uncomfortable even hearing that, because there's a level like where I don't actually like think about necessarily inspiring others to do something, although that is wonderful to hear that I do it. But there's almost a feeling of like a level when you have a cancer diagnosis that people put you in a bucket, like, wow, you're carrying this heavy burden and a rock, and and it's like, no, I'm really just this, I don't have another option. Like, so this is my option. My journey and my story is not your journey and it's not your story, but it's wonderful to share them and to connect that way. And so I work really hard on myself. Like I work super hard. Like if I could share, which I don't usually with people because it's not really an appropriate moment, there's like a lot of self-healing and a lot of introspective stuff and a lot of work that I do on myself to get myself at a certain level of acceptance and also to be living more in the moment. Like all of these things that I work on, I don't always do so well. And sometimes some days are better than others for me. And I think that the discomfort is something I'm always working with, just like in terms of the critique, to kind of bring back to what you were saying. I will always have a self-critique. Every artist has that. It's just a matter of how you work through it and how you communicate it. So I'm okay now. Like I enjoy people's feedback. I don't necessarily look at it in a defensive manner. Everybody has different opinions, and a lot of people feel like art is so subjective. To some degree it is, but there's a level of technique in there. And so depending on who's giving me feedback, just the other day I was in the studio and one of my studio mates came by, Kat, and she was talking to me. I was showing her something and she's like, you know what? I would blend this a little more. And I was very thankful for that comment because it brought me to a totally different level where I went back where I thought I was almost done. And then I was like, no, she's right. Okay, I do need to, from a technical standpoint, these areas need to be tweaked and I need to fix this. Like just because it's abstract and subjective doesn't mean there are other elements to it that critiquing is really important. So I think it's about how you accept their critique, but my self-critiques are always going to be there. It's just a matter of how I think I receive that feedback from people now. I think because I'm open to it, it doesn't feel hurtful or defensive or like I'm not good enough and I don't deserve to do this painting. Like I'm not like putting myself in this like in victim mode. I'm more like, that's great feedback and how can I apply it?
Awesome. I know I think about art and of course as a DJ and I play music sometimes, I'm like, oh my God, it didn't turn out how I thought. And it's like I have this vision of what I want stuff to look like or come here, sound like, and it's like that it didn't go that way. But it's that like it's okay. Like I can do a little bit different tweaking next time, or maybe this wasn't the right fix or not fix the mix, you know. There's always that like what your vision is in your head of what it's supposed to look like on canvas or, you know, in speakers or whatever on video. And then you're like, that's not what happened. And it's okay, you know, and not like quitting and giving up over it, but just being like, okay, cool. And keep doing it next time, you know? So let's talk about this week's experiment. So we have our awesome 7-day Rock Our Dreams experiment, and we're going to be talking and embracing discomfort. And I know so many people go through life not wanting to feel uncomfortable, you know, and to the degree where we have addiction and abuse of substances. I started drinking wine like a psychotic, you know, I have to drink wine to numb myself and not feel uncomfortable with my emotions for so long. And so that I wasn't taught how to be uncomfortable. Like growing up, nobody told me that being uncomfortable is part of being human. I was taught and modeled like, oh, you're uncomfortable, go away from that. And, you know, run away from your discomfort. So, and certainly your pain. So little baby steps towards being okay with discomfort in service of your art coming out in the world, in service of a big dream, in service of being the best version of yourself. It seems like that is such a great gift we can give ourselves. And so you want to share kind of how you work with discomfort and how you go through it now in your life?
Well, I think there are a lot of puzzle pieces to putting that together. And I know for the sake of like the experiment this week, it's just one little small pimple on an elephant's ass, so to speak, of one thing to do in terms of getting uncomfortable. But for me, I think the first thing to realize and recognize before you can kind of dive in and sit with discomfort, and for whatever that is for each individual person, is to understand that being comfortable will kill you. Like literally, it will. Stress is the number one thing I can share out there that people go through. And physically, it manifests in your body and it can turn into other things. So I think in understanding that if you want to remain comfortable and cozy, one, you're really not, because if you have anything that needs to be worked out from a self-healing standpoint or a challenge, you need the opportunity to change that. If you don't have that first step in understanding that remaining in yourself and not having that growth and understanding is, you'll never be able to reach the discomfort. It's a conversation with yourself. It's a real conversation where you don't want to lie, right? So, and the only person that's going to hear you is yourself. So a lot of times, if you can't take the filters away from yourself, you're not going to be able to move forward and even do the exercise. So the first thing is to have a real conversation with yourself and understand what's uncomfortable and address one thing at a time. There could be, for some people, it could be one thing, and for other people, it could be many things. If it's many things, which is probably more likely for most of us, there's a lot of categories, then just start with one. You know, what's the priority one, like currently in your life at the moment, that needs to be addressed? And that's the one you start with. And I'd say along the way in being uncomfortable, it's also okay to stop and take a break. So that's like something for me right now. I'm very comfortable being uncomfortable, but there are certain specific things that I'm working on at the moment that I hit a point. And that point is, do I need to be this uncomfortable? It's affecting a few things that shouldn't be affecting. And I'm okay. I'm not suppressing it. I'm not unaware of it, but I need to take a little break. Like I don't need to keep going like 150%. Like I'm good where I'm at. I recognize it. I know it. I'm aware of it. And I'm going to take a break from it. But that's only because I'm on like level 42. But on level 1, it's first, I think it's more just address what the issue or challenge is that you want to work on, or what's blocking you. And then once you've thought about that, then start thinking about that a little more and sit with those thoughts, like we talked about in the podcast on how to do that exercise. And then you go from there. Everybody has the ability to do it. It's just a matter if you want to make it a priority.
Yeah, totally. I'm so sorry. Are you still getting the audio delay stuff on your side? Like the video, do the audio and video match up when we're talking?
Yeah, on my side it is.
It is. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I get like random, like your lips, like the Kung Fu movie, the lips move. Yeah. So I apologize to anybody who might be listening with Kung Fu captions. So thank you for being uncomfortable and being on a Facebook Live with us. I know obviously it is nice to be able to go back and have control over everything and make it, perfect and, edit and do all of that. But I just do Facebook Lives because it's like, I really want to be okay with like the imperfection of things in life. And so that's sort of one of my discomfort exercises.
Look, we're doing it already. We're doing it.
It's in real time. But okay. So everybody, we can go over to djvaleriebeloved.com/018 discomfort. And then you can find Nerissa also at Nerissa Balland Art. And is this all on all of the channels, right? On Instagram? Are you on Twitter? Do you tweet?
I don't tweet.
No tweets. I know. I do auto tweets. I don't know. It just,
I'm on Instagram, and that feeds like my Facebook. I do other things on Facebook too, but Facebook is Nerissa Balland Art, Instagram Nerissa Balland Art. I'm on LinkedIn as Nerissa Balland, and I do post some stuff on there. And I have a YouTube channel as well. That's not like, it needs growth, but I'm working on that, and I have that. I don't know about the tweeting yet. It's like getting too much. Then I won't have time to paint.
No, it's a lot, man. It's like, really, you got to do that too. So yeah, definitely. Nerissa's art is so awesome. You guys, like, I love seeing how she's just keeps, you're prolific, and I really like what you keep producing and showing, and how you're doing all these little overlays in the people's houses with your art up. That looks super cool and fun, just to see like what her art would look like in your home, or anyone's home for that matter.
Or office.
Or your office, I know, or your background here. I finally like painted this a couple of weeks ago. So
it's cool. Right. Yeah, notice the music notes.
We're getting better. I know, I made that years ago, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to recycle some CDs. I'm going to recycle some records and glue some stuff on it. So it needs a little help though. But the song of the week is, what's the song of the week, Nerissa? And tell us why really quick.
If I had a voice, I'd sing it, but I can't. But it's This Girl Is on Fire. Cats die when I start to sing. So
please.
It's really bad. I was actually singing last night, and my husband's like, whoa, that note, like it was Lean On Me. I was like, lean on me. And I was like, and then there was that, anyway, it hit the song like something about sorrow, and it was like, oh. Anyway, I have absolutely no musical ability. I can dance, but I can't sing. Anyway,
Get the groove
on Fire, and by Alicia Keys.
All right. Alicia Keys. She is a badass artist too, man. I love that woman. And
it's Women's Month. So it's even a more like imperative, specific, appropriate song for March. So.
Totally. Why women? Really, like 1 minute. Tell me why it's important to have women artists promoted in this day and age. Like what's a big deal? Why do we need to have that as a focus?
So I think, like most industries, and where we're trending right now, is the ability to pay attention to where women who are equally in a lot of industries, but art specific, doing the same amount of work. They're paid less, 20% less than men, and their visibility is far less. So in the United States, 30% of female artists are actually recognized commercially in galleries, and we make up 51% of who is working. So, men 49, women 51. And so, but only 30% of us are actually being awarded, granted grants, being shown in commercial galleries. And I think that it's important to understand it's not so much about the gender in the sense that it is because we're not being paid or recognized the same way. But at the same time, it's just a matter of like, if you had a group of people, there were 100 people, and you were only always showing the same 30 of them constantly, what does that say about the other 70 that keep trying? So, and are out there. I'm not saying that everybody needs to be shown, whether you're male or female. I mean, you have to be good enough, but it's very hard to believe that like the pay is not equal, and the ability to come forward and have those opportunities are not as readily available. It's very discouraging, and across the board, not just with art, but in all fields. Even when I worked in marketing and advertising, if I had someone who was an account director and I was an account director and he was male and I was female, he made more than me. I mean, I've always kind of accepted it because there's not really anything else throughout my career that I could do, like from a large corporation standpoint. I was just more thankful I had a job, and tried to be happy with what I was given. But at this point now, being an artist, I am working on some projects with other women artists to try to hopefully, at least locally in Miami, be able to give an opportunity and showcase women artists and highlight them in other ways. So I think it's important too, at a certain point, you figure out if you're not given an opportunity by someone else, what opportunity can you create for yourself and then open that platform for other people? And that's kind of where I'm at now. Instead of just accepting it and taking it, I'm not angry about it. I'm not trying to change the world, but I'm trying to say, hey, in my area, in my hometown, what can we do to make it a little bit better? That doesn't change the United States. It doesn't change everybody's viewpoint. But if my colleagues and I, who are women artists, can do something to open the doors for other women, even if it's just one public art exhibition around Miami, that brings exposure and awareness. So I think it's baby steps, just like discomfort. So
totally. I love it. That's awesome. Thanks, Nerissa. Yeah, that also addresses the with Big Dream School, we're working on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And so goal number 5 is gender equality. And so it's really important that, that gets equalized over time. Like you said, like, why would we not listen to 50% of the population on any given issue? And why would we not include their voices and rise them up? It's like you're losing out on a valuable resource,
right. Or future resources who are discouraged by it. I think that's a big thing. So I look at it like that's women that are going to be educated in the arts and moving forward in the arts, or wanting to be female artists as professionals. It's very discouraging to hear a lot of the statistics, and slightly disturbing to say, hey, work this hard, pay this much tuition, go to these schools, get the education. And then, by the way, you're not going to really get paid as much. And second of all, you might not even get, the opportunities to show up to present or exhibit. So, yeah.
Well, I like hearing that you're collaborating with other female artists, and I like hearing that your mission is, part of your mission is to create platforms for them to get heard, new artists and different artists to get heard and seen. I think it's super important, and I think that's inherent with the male species. Is, they are tribal, and like men work together. There's a lot of team energy with men. And so I think that there's more comfort for men to have this like pack vibe. Whereas women, we're still coming up and rising and figuring out how to be in relationship with each other and trust each other and create our own energetics of tribe so that we can help support each other as well. So that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
But I think it's great. So I'm really happy to see you rocking the female art tribe in Miami and getting your voices out there and helping others too. So I want to hear more about that in the future. So, okay, everybody, anything else you want to say, Nerissa, to everybody as they're, going to be finding you out there in cyberspace and art space? Like, definitely check out Nerissa's art. It's epic. She's beautiful. She's a wonderful mama, a wonderful artist, a wonderful friend, just a wonderful human being on this planet. So I'm so glad you're here kicking ass.
Yeah.
Any last words?
Well, if you reach out, if you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, feel free to reach out and have a conversation too. If there's any art that you're looking at that you like or have questions about, I love to dialogue about it. Or if there's something you'd like to see or you think I could improve on, blend more, etc., I'm down for the feedback. I'm comfortable with it.
Yay. All right. Check out Nerissa at Nerissa Balland Art. And then we'd love to close out these little shows with a quick little inhaling of love, everybody. And we'll get on with our day and exhale some peace out there on this planet. Yay. Awesome. Thanks, Nerissa.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Dream Jockeys. We'll catch you soon, and get over to the website and get your downloadable. And we'll be doing this experiment starting on Monday, but listen to the podcast prior to that so you know what's up. All right. Aloha. Thanks, Nerissa.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.